Can you say a few words about the distinctive contribution that the Big Carnival has made to that work?
Well, a distinctive contribution for me at the start was about artists taking a lead on the street. So as part of society, what happens on the street, we have a lot of cultural celebration, a lot of cultural activity in public. Largely led, I would say, by politicians, whether with a small p or a big P. And our work was part of how can artists make a contribution that's visible, so on the street, to do community celebration in ways that are culturally inclusive. And that's what we've achieved, including through civic events like St. Patrick's Day or the Lord Mayor's Parade, which were closed to certain cultures. And we, through arts and creativity and doing a lot of work with a lot of people over a lot of time, have been able to turn things around. And I think that's the other part of it. It's dedicating time and people to those changes. So it's not like just doing if we take St. Patrick's Day as an example, it's not just inviting people to come together and meet on the street, which might look like people are getting together and working together in happy relations. It's all the background work behind that. It's the programmes in community centres, youth groups, and here. And building up a resource over a lot of time, building up an infrastructure to do this work. So I think the Carnival Centre is a unique part of what we've achieved. It's a building on an interface area which brings people together through creativity, people of all ages. And there isn't anything else quite like this. So that's a unique thing I think that we've contributed. It's both the programmes and you could say the tangible infrastructure as well. And now we have an asset that can be further built upon. Well, we're sitting here amongst the tangible product of 3 decades of work, of carnival work as we call it. And a lot of it happens in the centre here in terms of this larger scale making, but a huge amount of work also happens out with community groups in other public spaces and youth clubs, schools and so on. And I think the tangible work here is a kind of inspirational way into the work that goes on behind that. People walk in here and they're fascinated and attracted by the colour and the evidence of many hours, and in fact many years of hard work from hundreds and hundreds of artists. And what you don't see here as well would be the performance work. So there are lots of different types of artists involved in this work. There's the people who do costume work, the construction, but also performers. There's the community artists who are out working with groups, families, individuals. And I think this should be a gateway into that past record of how the work has happened, the methodology. How do we approach this? Because it is about values at the end of the day. It's about making relationships. It's not just about making colourful artwork. The artwork comes about after relationships have been established with people, between artists and individuals, and between different individuals and different communities. And we, as well as this product, we do have a record of videos and reports and all sorts of written material on this work. I would really love to have that in a form that's accessible, that people can actually delve into and see, here's this event that happened that involved 1,000 people in the city centre or out in a neighbourhood, and here's how it happened and maybe what it cost both in monetary terms but also in time and time and effort and creative resources. Partly because we don't always want to be reinventing the wheel. You know, we've got this far over 2 or 3 decades. What's the next step? Instead of going back and doing something as if nothing had ever happened. And unfortunately that happens too much, I think. So there is, let's just call it an archive of peace building, reconciliation and so on through arts work like this. And for me it's a question, how do we record that better, and how do we make it visible, how do we make it accessible, how do future practitioners learn from it? So it's still a question maybe rather than just an answer, but I know that we have a lot of information. There's a lot of knowledge has been gathered over the years, a lot of experience, and it'd be terrible if that was lost or just couldn't be accessed.